Yeah, so I just wanted to do a quick, not mega in-depth review of this beautiful guitar. It's an Epiphone SG Standard 61, and right off the bat I'll say I love this guitar. It's almost as good as that proper Gibson up there. Not quite, and I'll explain why later on in the video, but I am very picky about guitars, and this, I literally have no complaints. I'm very OCD and I find faults where there are, either cosmetically or otherwise, and this is just fantastic. And for £1,000 less than that would probably retail nowadays. So this was £400, that's probably worth £1,400 if not more. Honestly, this is pretty much just as good. So just to go over the specs quickly, you know, it's a double humbucker guitar. The body is mahogany, I believe, as is the neck. The fretboard is Indian laurel, which is like, I guess it's the rosewood substitute now, that wood isn't so readily available. 22 frets, medium jumbo fret wire. The nut is Graphtec. It's cut exceptionally well. That is one of my main gripes with guitars nowadays. A lot of the companies cut the nut too low. It's my understanding that between the bottom of the low E string and the top of the first fret should be a minimum of 0.75 millimeters. I've had guitars where the distance between the bottom of the low string and the first fret is less than it is on the top E string, and that's just the opposite to what it should be like. So anyway, I've talked about the nut for quite a while there, because honestly that is a thing that can make or break it for me on so many guitars, and I'm not going to lie, I've sent a lot of guitars back because the nut has been cut improperly. And some people might say like, oh, we'll just replace the nut. Well, I shouldn't have to. One, that's not a very easy procedure. If you are cutting the nut out, you risk damaging the finish around it. I'm not prepared to do that. If they just cut the nut too high, if anything, and then if I want to file the slots down, that's my decision. That's easier than having to replace the nut in order to increase the height. So anyway, got slightly sidetracked there. So back to the specs. The tuners are Epiphone Deluxe. Is that focusing? Maybe not. Anyway, they are Epiphone Deluxe, whether it focuses or not. They're really good. I have Grover Deluxe ones on that. These are just as good, in all honesty. I've had this guitar for a few months now and everything's still performing very well. The real test of time will be in a year plus, I guess, but 3-way toggle switch, 2 volumes, 2 tone controls. Where the 61 standard differs from the standard, the one with the bigger scratch plate, possibly prefer the look of that one. However, what makes this better in my opinion is the position of this strap button. So on the standard, it's a bit further up, and the neck joint is kind of thicker, and it's just not very practical when it comes to accessing the upper frets. I have found on the other version of the standard, not the 61, it's just in the way. The strap button's in the way. That's a design flaw in my opinion, but they're sticking with it, as so many of the stubborn traditional guitar manufacturers do. So yeah, this one's much better placed in my opinion, and it gives you like perfect access to the upper frets. I mean, one of the great things about an SG, which just happens to be my favourite style of guitar, is the double cutaway, and the neck joins the body all the way at the end of the fretboard, and you just can't get any better upper fret access on any guitar, in my opinion. Not any that I played anyway, so. It's got like the stop tail piece and this tune-o-matic bridge, probably my favourite configuration. Another thing I like about Gibson and Epiphones is there is no need for a string tree. Other guitar manufacturers, it's the same as well. The rival guitar company will have string trees to compensate for the fact that they don't have that angle on the headstock to sort of create the string tension. People would argue, some people would argue that it weakens the neck joint where the headstock joins the neck. Some people say that it's more prone to cracking and stuff like that. I think that's just a myth personally. I think this is a perfectly designed guitar, but for one thing, which people will always tell you about, the SG suffers from neck dive. That is true. I mean, there you go, just dived onto my sofa, thankfully. It's not really an issue when you sat down, if you just rest it like that, as you can see. And if you're wearing a strap, then if you've got a good strap that creates enough friction on your shoulder, it's not been a problem for me. So it's not a real issue. I guess it's not a perfect guitar. If it was, that wouldn't happen. As far as guitars go, for me, it's perfect, and I just love the SG. The shape of it, the aesthetics, and the way it feels to play, most importantly. This neck it's quite slim. I don't know exactly what they call it. I might put it up there once I've done a bit more research, which I should have done before making this video, but I didn't. That one's got a thicker neck, slightly less comfortable to play for me. I think I've got sort of like average size hands. It is good to hear it unplugged, and this thing sounds great even unplugged. And you know, it's yeah, everything rings beautifully. There's no like weird buzzing from anywhere or rattling, which you get with a lot of guitars. I've got the action set to a pretty standard 2mm on the 12th fret on the bass side, and 1.5mm on the treble side. It could probably go lower, but that's what I like. You know, it's not mega low. I've got that set to the same. I could go lower on that as well, but I don't want to. Everything still plays and sounds nice, and the bends ring true and everything. Another great thing about this particular guitar is that it's suited to pretty much any style of music. With the two humbuckers you can obviously do heavier stuff. I forgot to mention before as well, these are Epiphones Pro buckers. Now they are the one thing that don't stack up with the Gibson really. That's got the Gibson 49T, or is it 490T? Yeah, I think it's 490T, 490 treble and 490R rhythm, I think that's what they're called. Anyway, they're just higher output. They're slightly better. I mean, you get more sort of like of a harmonic response from those. But these are not bad at all. I mean, they're actually quite good. They're quite versatile. You've obviously got the 2 volume controls and the 2 tone controls, and you can get a lot of variety out of them. I mostly play heavier stuff, but like, you know, they're perfectly capable of doing jazzier stuff, blues obviously, and get nice clean sounds out of them too, so yeah. And one further thing, obviously Marshalls traditionally are not renowned for their clean tones, so just bear that in mind. You know, it's not a crystal clear Fendery tone, but it's adequate. Like I say, it gives an idea of what the sound is like, and if you want a more in-depth idea, if that even makes sense, I think it does, find another video. So in conclusion, this guitar is very good. Thank you, like and subscribe. Goodbye.